I counted 4 secret levels of D&D prep most DMs miss that all go deeper than the common advice you can find everywhere, and the cool thing is, they also gradually add depth to your campaign while making prep more fun. So today, I'm going to show you what they are, and to make sure it sticks, we'll take a very generic session idea and make it amazing by going through these 4 levels. But the first step we absolutely need is, we need something to build on. Okay, so I think the party's going to enter an old forest, and they're going to be looking for a scout.
Okay, but isn't this missing something?
You're right, internal monologue. I think the scout has been missing for 3 days.
This is a situation and not an outcome.
Which is what you should be doing.
Yes, but it's pretty thin.
Sure, but this is basic on purpose. We've all been in old forests more times than we can remember, meaning the things we'll add from now on will stand out more. And the whole point of this method is we're basically gonna be playing a game with our own prep. Each level gives us a new toy we'll get to build and add to the session, making us more excited and the future session more immersive. Because here's the problem our first level will fix. I think a lot of us tend to run our sessions at a single emotional temperature, so to speak. Like, dungeons are all tense for 3 hours, and then it's mysterious exploration for the next session, before we move on to the secrecy-heavy social encounters, etc., etc. The camp feels silent, mysterious, almost like the forest it's in.
Dude, yeah, come on, dude.
Didn't you mean like the road that led us to it? At the scene level, this is not a problem, but if the entire session stays at the same temperature, everything starts to blur together, and it leads to that uncomfortable, forgettable session feel we all know and don't love.
It sucks. We hate it.
Why are you looking at me? I hate it too. Even the internal monologue guy does.
And that was true. But thankfully, there's a solution.
This happens because when we spend a lot of time thinking about what we're putting in there, we forget to think about the shape of the session, aka rhythm. The good news is, the fix is simple. We need dynamics and contrast, and to do this, I like to use something I'm a bit obsessed with, that I call tension pairs. Like quiet versus loud, funny versus sad, slow versus fast, epic versus introspective, etc. Using pairs of opposite concepts helps create more immersive sessions because 1. It allows you to make sure you're thinking about variety and naturally creating that rhythm. And 2, more importantly, it's a good way to include the player's emotions and the effect you want your prep to have in your prep, which makes it way easier to then create that feeling at the table. The trick is to then work on the shift from one to the other. 2 to 3 changes per session is enough, and it will immediately give it shape. Because we're whole human, and contrast helps us feel, just like when the chorus hits in a great song. So let's go back to this old forest.
Yes, I think he needs help.
Right now it has that single unmistakable old forest emotional temperature, the vanilla mystery one.
God, I wish it was vanilla. I love vanilla.
So let's sprinkle in some tension pairs. I think I want to work with quiet and tense. As you progress in the forest, you can't help but notice how silent everything is. Let me guess. You, as a ranger, you notice that birds should be singing, but they aren't.
Oh.
But then they hear something, like maybe a branch snaps somewhere they can't see, or they hear a sound that doesn't belong in a forest at all.
As a ranger, do I know what that sound was?
Let's see. Make your survival check, please. You can then have some kind of random encounter planned, or maybe an environmental puzzle. You pick.
So?
Yes, that was just the sound of a very cool YouTuber asking you to help him out by making sure you're subscribed to his channel, because 80% of regular viewers aren't. Do we get more experience points if we do?
Mm-hmm.
And a rare magic item of your choice as well. The point is, thinking in terms of pairs both helps us map out the structure of the session and think more about the emotional journey of the players. Okay, but how do I make this total shift impossible to miss? Because my players here are so busy being players and just keep looking at the player's handbook. You know, they just can't seem to remember their spells descriptions. Hey, dude.
Yeah, we do that, don't we?
I'm sorry. Keep going. Well, we need our second secret level to grab their attention. If you're just using words, there's a limit to how captivating you can become. And you're asking the player's imagination to fill in the blanks. It's like one of those weird French films with just dialogue and no music. Directors understood a long time ago that they could use it to help the audience experience their story more intensely.
Wait, I use music? What? It's right there. Look.
Well, the thing is, I think most DMs use music like some kind of audio wallpaper. They go to YouTube or Spotify, type fancy ambient chill or fantasy combat music, and then forget about it for 3 hours.
Alright, yes, maybe the last stand epic combat music that makes you feel like a warrior wasn't the right pick for the tavern roleplay bits. Happy?
I mean, we've all done it. But the real problem, even if you don't have such terrible tone mismatches, is that it treats music as decoration and not as a layer that's adding something to the session, which is a shame because music can create deep emotions in just a few seconds.
Please tell him how to fix this.
I think the best way is to use the music as an accelerator of the contrast pair idea we saw in the first level, and you change tracks when that change happens. That way, both techniques reinforce each other. It makes it easier to lend that vibe shift, and to not forget to change the track, because now it plays a functional role in the session and contributes to its shape. So, for our forest, for the quiet bits, we could have low ambient sounds, maybe a subtle wind sound effect, or distant water. And then, when you have that snapping branch thing, well, first you can play that, but you can introduce some music too. Many things can work, and will have different results, depending on what you planned. A dark music can announce a fight against undead, for example, or a more ambient one, some kind of puzzle. Pick what you like, but the important bit is you're helping to shape the session further. If you're working with 3 tension pairs, that's 6 soundtracks to prepare. But the cool thing is, because you're working with general emotions, you can spend a bit of time to craft a few soundtracks and then reuse them across several sessions.
Come on, I'm not that lazy. It's okay, dude. I won't judge.
Well, thank God you won't judge. You're a player. I know you're not really lazy, but we don't like Burnout, so maybe make a custom one only for the really important scenes, or when you feel inspired and want to dig deeper. We're not scoring a film here, but using our second secret level to boost the effect of the first one.
Isn't there an easy way to do this? Having a dozen browser tabs open doesn't feel all that practical.
Well, actually, if you don't know where to find high-quality music and sound effects, I need to tell you about the sponsor of today's video. The guys at Amsel Suite are launching 2 new tools on Backerkit, Harp and Scry. And Harp is a tool that allows you to do just that. It is built to help you manage your soundscape during your session with very clever features to help you highlight those emotional shifts, and a randomness engine that keeps things from feeling repetitive. They're working with human composers and studios who worked on Black Mirror, or more recently Clair Obscur Expedition 33, to create unforgettable sound layers for your games. In addition, Scry is a tool that helps players and DMs interact with one another during and between sessions, and allows them to share secrets, journal, use mind maps, and even fight the final boss of any tabletop role-playing game, aka scheduling. Both these tools will be compatible with their existing products, Lore and Tone, which help with world building and the note-taking side of prep, and I really love them. The Backerkit campaign starts today on the 5th of May 2026, and they're very cool people, so just check out the link in the description. And speaking about communication at the table, this takes us to our 3rd secret level of D&D prep. Tell me if this sounds familiar.
As you arrive in the clearing, you see half-burnt logs. In the center of a small stone circle.
Oh, maybe the scout slept here before.
Sure, alright. I'll look around and check for anything out of the ordinary. Sure. What about you?
I look around and try to find anything out of the ordinary.
Alright, please make an investigation check.
Ooh, yes. Nice. Okay, so looking around, you find an old journal and a strangely familiar piece of cloth.
Oh,
this dark, thick wool.
The scout's cloak. We're on the right track.
I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But this is a take things to the next level type of video. So how do we do that? Because when every player knows the same things, you avoid party splits, which is nice, but the group kind of starts moving forward as this single block. And players end up not talking as much, which means less opportunities for roleplay and character development.
Yeah, dude. We should roleplay more.
Sure, but I'm a lone wolf kind of guy. Ranger, remember?
If the next step can fix him, I think I'm even going to support this dude on Patreon.
Well, our third secret level won't magically turn antisocial players into team players, but it will allow us to engineer more emergent roleplay moments by making the information flow asymmetric on purpose.
So, secrets.
Yes, kind of, but with a specific shape. I think secrets and clues work better when you treat them as puzzles. You prepare several small pieces, you make sure there are several ways for players to find them, and you give them to different players. This helps the roleplay to happen naturally, because if they want the complete clue or secret, they need to interact and share information, so they will theorize, take different sides, etc.
Nice. Okay, so you find this hidden in a tree stump nearby.
Oh, cool.
I'm sure that's a subpar clue.
What even is that? Sorry, that's Ranger slang.
And you find this in the grass just outside the clearing.
What I love about this is that the conversation the players will have can lead to theories you didn't prepare for and make the game more exciting for everyone. In our example, maybe the DM initially thought the scout fled in a hurry and forgot some of their things, and the clues were just a way to point the players in the right direction.
So, did you get a premium clue?
How do you know Ranger slang?
What? Guys.
What'd you do? Sorry. I approached the wizard.
I'm a sorcerer.
I say...
I found this dagger wrapped in cloth. It belongs to the scout, I'm sure.
And I found this. It's a journal entry. It says they were afraid of something, I can tell.
Sounds like a diversion. He would never part with his dagger.
I first thought he was on the run, given the journal. But I agree with you, Ranger. He will come back. This is a setup. He's smarter than this. If we want to find him, we need to stay here.
All right. Sure. Just my character name is... We've been over this. I'm not calling a fantasy ranger Steve. Thank you. Different clues can either tell different stories or different sides of the same one. And the beauty of this approach is that it's the player interaction that decides. Players can still roleplay and come up with theories when the secrets and clues come as complete blocks, yes. But this puzzle approach greatly increases the chances of a cool interaction, because not seeing the complete thing at once gives each individual player a chance to come up with a different theory when they only have access to partial information. And the DM just gets to sit back and watch, paying attention to what is being said while the game runs itself for 20 minutes. And this tells them where to take things next.
Alright, so that night, as you're waiting patiently, you hear footsteps approaching quietly.
You avoid railroading, get ammunition for what comes next, and get to be considered a genius when their theory was either correct...
It's the scout.
Wow, I can't believe we got this right. Or almost correct.
With 4 armed bandits.
This is even better. So, for your next session, just identify 1 or 2 key situations where it would make sense to have different secrets or clues, write them on little cards, and give them to the players when they ask for that check. You don't write a mystery novel, but you help create the conditions for a conversation. This is cool. Now, the session will have an emotional shape, a cool soundtrack, and an engine that creates cool roleplay and twists on autopilot. But what about me? Right, the DM is a player too, so I think it's very important that we try our best to make the game more immersive for the DM as well. And prep can help us do just that with our 4th secret level, texture. The goal of this step is to get you in the mood and excited to run the session. And the way I love to do it is to try to pick a few power words or expressions to help me communicate the images I have prepared. Isn't that risky though? The players might think I'm trying to tell the story at them. Well, no, I don't think so. Because DMs spend a lot of time tracking logistical details and preparing mechanical elements that need to make sense and create a fun experience for everyone at the table. And it can sometimes drain the fun out of the game or lead to the dreaded DM burnout thing. So when you spend 5 minutes to write something you are excited about,
The stone feels cold, like a blue February morning.
or whatever the equivalent you version of this is, you're not just preparing a detail or writing a book, but you're getting excited and stepping into the world before the players do. You're creating the conditions to become the world for your players, which makes it way easier to do all the other stuff you must do as the DM. Describing things, reacting to the players, and even voices if you're into those all become easier. And that is because the texture level is your warm-up, and it makes prep feel like a game already instead of homework. You become a player of your own game for 5 minutes, and it changes how you show up at the table. So, maybe in our old forest,
There is mist, like a thick fog that clings to the ranger's armor, like a wedding veil, and a cathedral silence that commands humility.
that's beautiful.
It's wordy, is what it is.
Look, I'm sorry if you don't like those. I'm French. They make us learn Victor Hugo in school. Don't pay attention. The point is, find the version you like. It doesn't have to be this flowery. It needs to make you excited to share it with the players, because that's when you'll be the best. I suggest you try to come up with 3 or 4 of those per situation. One image, one smell, one sound is a good place to start. They're not scripts you must use. It's all about anchoring yourself. When you write them and read them before the session, they will pull you into the world, and it simply becomes easier to meet your players there. So we started with a party, entering some cliché old forest looking for a missing scout, which was okay, but nothing special. And we kept the core of this idea, but we've made it better by thinking about table dynamics, how to engineer roleplay, how to do it by adopting a show-don't-tell approach with music, and how to run it by making sure we're excited and playing too. These 4 levels all have something very important in common. None of them make you control exactly what happens, but they allow you to design the conditions for something memorable to happen on its own. I think as DMs we're very lucky because we just get to build cool toys, and it's kind of like our whole private minigame we can play without having to go through scheduling and whenever we want. I'm not saying you need all 4 of these levels for every single situation in every single session, but maybe try it out. Just pick one of these and add it to your next game. My point is, I think you should try to prep wider instead of longer. But now we still have a problem, because everything we talked about today is about making individual sessions feel alive, which is cool, but a single great session can't save a campaign that doesn't have the right foundations. So how do you make sure your campaign idea is good enough? Well, click on this video next to learn a systematic 6-step diagnosis process that will turn any campaign idea into something amazing.